Hello everyone, this is Inari, and I mean recently Scoia'tael have not been good. I think that's more because of how strong other decks are, so how strong like Northern Realms and Nilfgaard and Skellige obviously are. Um, but I really like playing Scoia'tael. Obviously Harmony's pretty much dead now. But one of my favourite decks, basically of all time, was the Deadeye Ambush list that just sort of looked to get a lot of elves on the board, just played into Scoia'tael's strength of being able to flood the board, play cards like Great Oak, Venosial, things like that, and just had a lot of value. And I particularly liked, and it was something that I certainly picked up on while I was playing, was that because there's no real units that go like super tall, things like poison, like rupture, things like that, they don't really get too much value against this deck. And I kind of wanted to revitalize that with the new cards, not mix it up too much, just see how it gets on. Um, so the way I've sort of built this was I basically took the old deck, stripped out the neutrals, chucked in Earth Critters for the diversion, because really the neutral cards weren't particularly needed. I'm even forgetting which neutral cards were in this deck, so leaning into the diversion side was definitely worth it. I had been running, what's in it? Phyrexian, but it's a good card, but for the points, I feel like there's better things to run. So this is sort of the list I've come up with. Um, I mean, I've been taking it for a spin in pro rank mainly because I've got my 4 factions now. I've not played any Scoia'tael, so if this deck does incredibly good and gets me more points than one of my 4 factions, great. If not, I've not lost anything. So I'll go through the list, explain a few things, that sort of stuff, and then run a few games, the usual. And you can try it out if you want. I feel like this does pretty well at the moment. So we run Magic Lamp instead of Saber. So the reason for that is we don't always want to pull Ayla in round one. There are times where we're maybe looking to bring out round two if we're getting bled, or even round three sometimes if you just need to hold on to those points. And being able to kind of manipulate how many elves are on the board is really strong. And the problem with Saber is sometimes you're in a situation where you either use your tactic, get the 2 extra elves out, and pull Ayla in, and it's a bit of overkill for the round, or you end up not using it to save Ayla in your deck, and you don't particularly want your stratagem to be playing for nothing. So Magic Lamp's just a bit safer in general. So then we have sort of the obvious ones at the top. So we have Great Oak and Venosial, mainly because Venosial synergizes really well with the Deadeyes. Great Oak, just a very strong card. So I've put in first new card is Forest Protector, just because there's a nice bit of synergy with the whole Nature's Rebuke playing buffing Forest Protector. It's possibly one of the big points things that we consider cutting, but all in all, it's been doing pretty well for me. So then next we have Call the Forest, just for some bit of consistency with draws, and also boosting by one. You can't completely complain about that. It's 1 extra point. And because we're only playing Scoia'tael units, there's no way we possibly brick on a unit provided we draw Call the Forest. And I've added in Forth mainly for that. So Forth can either get you Call the Forest if you need that, or can go for Nature's Rebukes to get damage off, that sort of thing, to then activate your Forest Protector. So then we have Eas, again an old card from the deck. Can play for 11 sometimes if you get onto, say, a 1 point unit. Also, the bonus of you can kind of use this to cut your losses in effect. If a card's so if it's been like Teegveed ruptures on it, if it's been poisoned, if it's been locked, you can just play this, deal with something that they've basically made useless, and develop your own units. And it also has the added bonus of it spawning Deadeyes, which synergize really well with Venosial. You're basically getting 3 bodies down, which is great for Great Urk. He in effect plays as 3 elves because he's spawning 3, so you can basically use him in one turn to pull out Ailerin. As if you play Eas and then use some of your leader charges, you can guarantee 5 elves on the board to get Ailerin out. And we run Ailerin simply because I don't think I've ever had a game where I've not been able to get 5 elves on the board somehow, purely because leader ability drops 3 elves, and there's plenty of elves in the deck. Like Half Elf Hunter plays for 2 elves, Eas plays for 3. You're running cards like Yavin, that sort of thing. So never really had any problem getting elves on the board. So then I touched on Forv. So Forv is just basically there, bit more consistency. As I say, if we're looking for Call of the Forest means we don't brick on any units. And if we need to get Nature's Rebuke out, it means we're thinning a Nature's Rebuke, which is a bronze, so we'd rather be drawing our good golds. And then it also activates Forest Protector. So just really there for a bit of consistency. So then we have Weeping Willow. So this is a card I've considered maybe swapping out just to save points somewhere, as we do have 5 poisons, so it's a bit awkward. But the main reason for that is Forest Whisperer and Weeping Willow can play as just shield should we want it. But it's a good card. 5 power unit with Harmony, so maybe get a couple of Harmony procs on there. Can just play with a shield if you wanted to, or it's poison, and poison's very strong, so nothing really to complain about there. Yavin, I really like Yavin, especially considering the amount of elves we're running. Sometimes he can be dealing the damage that Great Urk would be doing, and considering Great Urk is 6 points more, and only 3 points power more, Yavin a lot of times can be getting the sort of value you expect from Great Urk. And especially being able to do it in one turn, if you particularly need to. If you got completely dead rare, you could literally drop 3 Deadeye ambushes onto a rare. You've got 9 power from that. You play Yavin as a 4. He deals 4 because the important thing with Yavin is he counts himself as an elf. So if you play him on a rare with 3 elves on already, he deals 4 damage because he counts himself. Even if he plays on a dead rare, he still deals 1 damage. So very good card. You always getting more than 7 points worth. So beating his provision costs are always good. So then we have Dunker, which is just a very strong card. No overwhelming sort of synergies here. It's just basically a strong unit that's like a better Hawker Smuggler, with also having the damage at the end and Veil. So nothing really to complain about there, just a solid card. So then we have Half Elf Hunters to just get more Deadeyes on the board. Plays as 2 elves. Nothing to complain about there, pretty standard. I've added in a second copy of Rebuke, just so that we have a bit more consistency with Forest Protector. It is something I would consider maybe changing this package up, maybe remove Rebuke, remove Forest Protector, put in like Ethne or something maybe. But at the moment it's been doing fine, but it's something to kind of keep in the back of my mind while I'm playing. So then we have 1 copy of Sappers, just have a Purify, nothing to complain about. Additionally, the additional effect of if you control an elf, you can purify anything, means you can get through defenders if you need to, as your leader ability can activate it in the same turn if you need to, but you'll normally, as I say, you'll always have an elf on the board. So then we've just got the 4 poison dryads, simply because poison's very strong. A nice bit of removal at a low cost. And they have Harmony on, so you're sometimes getting a couple of procs on Harmony as well, so can't always complain. So then we have Trained Hawks, which are just very good because they're very flexible. Playing as a 3 can damage for 2, so even then they're playing as 5 for 5. If Harmony procs, then even better. Also doubles up as rare movement without having to dedicate cards to rare movement. So there's a lot of cards that are kind of dedicated to rare movement that if you're against a deck that doesn't care about which roach units are on, it can kind of feel like a wasted card, a bit of a brick. Trained Hawk always having that, you can just play it as 2 damage, definitely makes it a lot more reliable than some of the pure just movement cards. So then we got Berman, purely because strong card, very strong card. It plays a 6 for 4 if your opponent has anything on the range rare, and it's an elf. So the elf tag is also relevant because of the synergies that go on with this deck surrounding elves. And then we have a critters, which I really like in the deck, and I think actually justify the diversion thing. And you would consider that since there's not really any other diversion cards in this deck, there's an argument for maybe just cutting these and going for a non-diversion deck. But they basically play a 7 for 4, give you 2 bodies on the board. They mean that the Death Blur of Nature's Rebuke has a target, has 2 bodies, so even if they remove 1, there's another body that can get the buff from that. Bleeding is just 3 points. 3 points is 3 points that ignore armor. So I do actually think they're definitely worth the inclusion. So that pretty much rounds out the actual deck list. The general sort of game plan is pretty much the same as any other deck. You're looking to win round 1, dry pass or bleed round 2, go all out round 3. There is a reliance on rare stacking for cards like Great Oak and Yavin, so there's a lot of rare management involved, so you have to be very careful that you're not overstacking rares to the point where you can't actually play any of your key cards on the rares they need to be on. So that has happened to me a couple of times where I've got a bit overzealous. I've dropped a load of cards down, and all of a sudden I've got no room for like Venosial, or like I've stacked up melee rare great, but then Aileron comes out, takes the 9th spot, and Great Oak has nowhere to go. So that's just something you do have to be sort of aware of while you're playing the deck. Typically, round 1, I like to kind of play a lot of the strong bronze cards we have, so like Half-Elf Hunter, Oak Critters, Berman, maybe use a couple of poisons. Since we do have 5 poisons, we can be a bit more loose with the poison cards. And then just kind of always be in a position where we can very easily pull out Aileron for that big point swing should we need it. So say if you've got, I don't know, you played like a Berman and a Half-Elf Hunter, you're instantly in a position where you could drop like Aas, for example, get those 3 elves out, it pulls out Aileron, and all of a sudden you swung by 16 points in a turn. And it can definitely swing temper and bully your opponent into situations they don't really want to be in. But apart from that, I think that's pretty much everything covered for the deck. So I'll run a few games, and you can kind of see how it's been going on, and hopefully you give it a try if you like it. So see you in the next one. Okay, who are we gonna get this time? Right, this is gonna be the acid test. Since Spies can really mess this deck up, since we can end up with a lot of row problems if we don't manage that very carefully. So this hand, I like the 2 poisons. I just feel like it's a bit heavy on the golds. Probably just gonna mulligan away a Forest Protector since we don't have Rebuke. Purify this early. I think we mull that as well. Right, so we've got a Rebuke. I think this hand's pretty good. This hand is pretty good. Yeah, I think I'm fine with this hand. I don't like being on blue coin, but we can play Dunker and start getting a few carryover points if nothing else. Critters. I don't mind that. I mean, that's alive. At the moment, that's not a problem. But the Dead Eyes. I mean, this is just making it better that if we do get last say, we can get such a swing. Ah, that's what he was going for. Okay. I guess that's fine there. What do we want to do here, though? Problem is the bleeding from Earth critters just won't proc onto that. So we lose 3 points. So I'm basically considering whether I want to rebuke that or not. And honestly, I don't think I do. Especially without having Earth critters out, we're losing 2 points. At this point, it's not really playing as anything. I'll play that slightly less value, obviously not targeting something on the range draw, but it is what it is. Okay. See, that's something I'd rather rebuke if he doesn't buff it. Okay, so how how greedy do I get with this? I think I can get a little bit greedy with this. Hopefully he doesn't buff it. If he does, I mean, we're not overly bothered. We do have the get out of jail free card of poisons should we need it. But I think we're fine just really trying to milk those points as much as we can. All right. Oh, of course. I always forget it works like that. Diversion will trigger for him. Yeah, it's pretty good for him. We'll probably just flip this. So, AS will pull out Aileron if we play onto one of these two, which is definitely something we need to be aware of. But we're definitely getting into the spot of, do we want to pass? We could just go for Dryad Rangers. Threaten the poison. Because it's such a swing. Points if this actually goes off. Because at this point it's like, well, we're basically drawing on points for me a card down. But I reckon he's still going to play in. As expected. Right, so he's probably going to bribery. I mean, we can't really deny that, unfortunately. Because even 2 Deadeye ambushes won't be enough. I think we kill that. Because if he wants to commit this round, that's fine. I'd rather him really go OTT on this round. Because we're probably going to end up having to pass on even, unfortunately, but I'd rather him go like really in this round. Okay. So AS actually plays as 15, which only puts us 2 points ahead. How much we want this round, I guess. I mean, it really hurts to do, but I think passing on even's correct. Just holding on. He's committed a lot this round. Playing playing Stefan and Ramon, things like that. He's played both amnesties, which is definitely something to keep in mind. And he may just dry pass on us, so we'll see what happens. This is a very heavy hand. My concern is being bled. Probably just going to dry pass on me, just take the card advantage, but yeah, being bled there is a little scary. Okay. Whew. Little concern there. Right, that's fine. Just play Hawk out. This is what I was saying about Ailerin in my intro thing, is we can get Ailerin out next round. I mean, provided we don't brick the draw. Just need to keep that in mind. We can brick with the draw. Right. Like that. Rather have it in hand there. So 2 poisons. We can brick 4, which is concerning. I mean, I guess we get rid of 4 there. I think we do. Alright. Yeah, I think that's okay. We're going to have to choose between Yavin and Forest Protector, which isn't ideal, but rather that than anything else. So let's have a look. So we'll be probably playing Venusial melee row. Right, so I'm gonna play the critters. Just because he probably has a tortoise, and trained hawk onto tortoise is incredibly good, but bleeding onto tortoise won't be doing all that much. I'd rather lose the points there. Or 2 points onto that. I can hit that for 2 and be very happy about it. Yeah, we can just hit that for 2. Turn that off, that's all good. So we're probably... So Eos onto ranged row, sacrificing the critters. Would play for 6. 6, and then we've got room for that. And that's going to go melee, that's going to go ranged. Okay. I mean, it's coup de grace. That's really haven't been all that threatening, so I don't feel too bad. In which case... Yeah, I think the best thing we can do is just sacrifice there and play out a couple. Right, so Ailerin's going to go melee row, Venusial's going to go melee row, Great Urkis, and Forest Whisperer. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 going melee row, so we have room for 1 more on the melee row. All good. Obviously spies are scary, but giving up on the poison wouldn't be the worst thing to ever happen. Alright, so it's killing 1. I may just leave the space free, just in case. It's pretty much a board clear. Obviously we dropped 1 point because 1 went into crossbowman, but there's worse outcomes. Arbalest. I think we're probably just playing Forest Protector here. Just play that. Rebuke the Arbalest. I mean, this is looking good. Obviously, we're playing a card down, so it's a little concerning, but we have a very strong hand, so now we see what he gets with this. Hopefully, he gets like Great Oak or something. If he's gonna get something good, I want it to be Great Oak. Right, he can't have got many good players then. Unfortunately, Poison looks like it's not going to be playing for a whole lot there. In which case, I think we just give up on the Poison play, don't we? That's all we can do. He's obviously looking to play around Poison, so... No, we just hope he doesn't have Regis, and no, he can't have Regis because he's Diversion. So Regis would play for quite a nice sum of points here. Right, so we'll just play that melee. We'll give a shield to that just to keep the body on the board. And then we can Great Oak for however much. Here's Tortoise. Provided I don't get done over here. That's not too bad. I mean, he's just played for 6, so that's fine. 2, 4, 6, 7. Yeah, we'll just get the hit onto there. Okay, and let's see if he's got the points. So he's got 11 points from his leader ability, which puts him at 22. So he needs 26. It's not 26 yet. 15. Right, it's going to depend what he pulls then, isn't it? Oh, it's going to be Great Oak, yeah. Great Oak plays for 15. I think that's just it. Oh, I'll take that. I'll definitely take that. 1 point's 1 point, but yeah, Deck's doing good so far. Okay, who's it going to be this time? Right, so this is probably a good game. This will decide if. I mean, I'm assuming they're probably playing. I think it was Shinmori had made like a hybrid list. I haven't, to be honest, I haven't actually looked at that list yet. Um, Supposedly it's quite good. I may have a look at it at some point, but I guess I'm having 3 poisons this round then. Um, is it worth just pulling Dunker here? I think it's actually worth pulling Dunker here. Since I'd have been less quick about playing her if it was just from hand because of but the 1 extra buff puts it out of Nature's Rebuke range. And sure, they can, no, they can't bleed it. Right, this is looking pretty good. I mean, I'd be very interested if they're playing the same list I am. That's great. Um, Great man to think alike and all that. What are we looking to do here? We can pretty much just copy what he's done. I mean, I kind of want to get some points on to Yevon Orvenosil. Yeah, so I was saying about the Shinmori list, wasn't I? Try and get that list up actually, see how much it differs from mine. Claim that for a rebuke, for a Call of Forest. Okay. Right, so this definitely isn't the list that I'm running. So have a look at that. Okay. So what we're looking to do here. Poison isn't out of the question. Sets up as a target for Nature's Rebuke, which is what my logic on this is. Let's see if I can find this list. He's been playing a Symbiosis, something or other. Some nonsense. That's not too nice to see. Flip that. Yeah, I'm just trying to find that list. I guess it doesn't matter too much. But yeah, I think he was going. I remember someone speaking about it. He's going a kind of diversion list similar to what I am. This might well be the list where you run a lot of the diversion cards and Ethne and things like that. Which looks likely. It's a shame I wanted to rebuke that. Actually, no. No. Got a better plan. Rebuke onto that. So it's ahead. Obviously, I'm turning off the carryover for myself, but I'm turning it off for him, and he doesn't get the extra 3 points from using the order ability at some point. So it's also a little scary that Great Oak could swing this. So Great Oak for him would play for 13, assuming he didn't get a buff, which is like 1 point ahead, which is a little sad. Right, so we can just play Berman here. Just stay ahead. I'd like to ideally win this round if I could. I'm not looking to play Venosiel. Alright, so I'm going to lose 3 points, go down to 28. He's going to 27, so he has to play something. I actually think this is a pass. I literally just said I want to win this round, but I think this is probably the best situation for it. Since I'm really setting myself up to fail if I play into this round. Since he's got things like that. I'm confused why he didn't use that earlier then. Because I got a poison out, he definitely could have denied the poison. And I mean, I'm not streaming, so there's no possibility. It's like sniping and he knows I had another poison or anything like that. Get rid of Trained Hawk. We haven't got another poison. I think we hold on to this hand as expect, just a dry pack. Yeah. So we just play Berman out. Because we're going to get another shot at drawing. I mean, if this deck does me pretty well, this could be my 4th faction. We'll just have to see how I get on with it. But Chris is pretty good for swarming the board. Trent Hawk for thinning his board is pretty good. Right, that's what I'm looking for. What else am I missing? Oh, good job in mulligan. Right, so we'll just play half elf hunter. I mean, unfortunately, we're not getting the second poison, but we can bait it. It's fine. All right. We may just be looking to play a little more soon on the Great Oak. Hit that. Again, we just gotta be careful with the rares. Looking like we're gonna get a lot of Venosiel value there. That's a very good target for Forest Protector. Right, so on the melee row, let's have a think. We're going to need to put Yavin, Venosiel, Great Oak, and Aileron's going to come out on the melee row. So we haven't actually got much space on the melee row. Trained Hawk may be going on the melee, so I think we actually start looking at the ranged row a bit. Kind of want to get AS out as well. So let's have a think. If AS plays melee row, then we're gonna have 6 on the row. 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we can't play in melee. May have been an argument for playing critters on the other row, but we shall find out. So Trained Hawk's gonna have to kill one of these, or his Symbiosis is just gonna get a bit out of hand if not. Yeah, I mean I guess that means we're gonna be probably playing Yavin on the range row. Sorry, we'll play AS, get all the dead eyes down and all that. All right. He's not getting full value with this. Ah, I completely. Oh wait, no, it doesn't get the buff, does it? Okay, so we need 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. Right. Could just play AS. Yeah, we'll just play AS. Because we're in a kind of situation where we can. Like the row is kind of how the game decides, in effect. In terms of a Great Oak, anyway. Alright, so he's going for a Venusaur before I can, I think. Oh, that's kind of perfect, to be honest. So, 1, 2, 3, 4 Miller. So we go 1, 2, 3, and Venusaur. Cool. And we have 2, 4, 5, 6. So this will play for 6, so we can kill Ethne as well. Should it not get buffed? So 4, 5. Yeah, we can kill Ethne if we want. Probably just kill Ailerin, thin out his row. We can also do a bit of bait with the Dryad Ranger. Okay, so best way to play this is play this. Kill that. Alright. So we'll get another Tryon, but right, so his Great Oak is going to play for 3, 6, 8, 15. So if he has Great Oak, he wins. It's great. They always have Great Oak. That's probably the strongest argument for putting in Ethne instead of what's it called? But no, I think that was a good game, very close, but yeah, pretty close on that one. But I think that's probably going to be it for the games. Yeah, it's a nice little deck. It's obviously different to the usual nonsense that's running about. Definitely a different choice to the typical Skellige, Northern Realms, Nilfgaard sort of stuff running about. So yeah, give the deck a try if you like the look of it. And yeah, let me know how you get on if you give it a try as well. Happy. Always like having a discussion about decks and how to play and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next one.